Hi BookTube, I'm here with my February TBR. I finally found a good place to store my TBR, which is this little crate here. So I'm just going to go through it. I have played the game and everything, but I'm going to take a different approach. I'm just finding that I don't have enough time to sit down and script and film and edit and all those type of things. So you're just gonna get me unedited, just how things are, how they're gonna be. So I could theoretically edit it in, but I honestly just don't have the time anymore to do that stuff. So believe me, I played the game. I do it for myself anyways. I have 3 categories of books this month for reading. First of all, my theme for the month was Korea, because February is the Lunar New Year, and I just am probably not even low key obsessed with Korea right now. It's pretty high obsession. I really love Korean food, and I watch a lot of Korean vloggers as well. So I'm really interested in Korea. So February 10th is the Lunar New Year. So I have some one Korean book and something else. So I have The Vegetarian by Hong Kang. This book was all over the place a few years ago. I got it at the dollar store for only $4. Nice hardcover book too. I believe this is about a woman who decides to become vegetarian, but it starts to get deeper than that. I'd not knowing too much about that. And then I don't think this is going to be a back to front read, but one of the things I'd like to do is plan a trip to Korea. I don't plan on going to Korea anytime in the future. I am terrified eating out in Canada with my allergy and not being able to speak the language. It's a little scary, but I'd like to just make believe and make a trip. So I have this rough guide, and I can then have my dream trip to Korea. Have it be a month or too long, and I get to explore the whole country. So that's it. I also have comics, but I'm not really going to talk about comics because I don't have them written down and they're on my computer somewhere. I do have a Korean comic that I'm planning on reading, but it's something. I will write it in the description box down below is what I will do. And all my other comics this month tie in with the other theme, and that is Black History Month. All the books from my game are written by Black authors, and all the comics I'll be reading are by Black authors as well. So there's that. Let's just start. Speaking of comics, I do have one from the library here. This is Wake, The Hidden History of Woman-Led Slave Revolts by Rebecca Hall. That's what the title says. It is graphic novel. So that'll be pretty cool. Another thing I try to do every month is read one book on religion, and I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I finally decided this would be the month to do it. This is Reading While Black by Esau Macaulay. I don't know why I tripled over Macaulay. This is African American biblical interpretation as an exercise in hope. It will be very interesting to read this approach to interpreting the Bible. Okay. Also, I got a lot of books from the library because I love the library. It's just so easy to get books that I want, and this month I was gonna do it. And then I got The Guild of Stories by Jewel Gomez. I was looking at a lot of like, I want to read like a lot of fantasy and science fiction and stuff, and this book comes up a lot. So this is a vampire, lesbian vampire, I believe. So it begins in the 1850s. Regilda escapes slavery, and then works in a brothel, and then she's initiated into eternal life as one who shares the blood. Yeah, and I believe it goes like into the future. Like this was written in the 90s, I want to say. But the last story takes place in 2050. So that'll be interesting. I think there is one labeled 1981. Where is it? 2020. Let's see how much she gets right there. I don't think anyone could have predicted 2020. Yeah. Okay, so there's that one. And then, of course, I had to include an Octavia E Butler. I have yet to read Kindred, so I'm hoping to rectify that. The library plastic covering is a little weird, which is why there's that weird glare on it. But this is another... No, this one isn't the vampire one. That's... I guess... I don't know. I'm thinking Octavia E. Butler wrote a vampire story, but I'm also... It's definitely not this one. This one is the time travel one. Am I mistaken? Wild Seed isn't... Going off on a tangent here anyways. I've read Wild Seed. I've read Parable of the Sower. And I've read Xenogenesis. Now I'm finally reading Kindred. I don't know why I thought... She has a vampire novel. I'm pretty sure. I gotta look that up. I'm leaving this whole thing in, so just like, pardon me if I'm wrong. But this is a woman who is in, I guess, present day, like contemporary times is when the book was written. And it's about a black woman. She's married to a white man, and she gets thrown back in time during slavery. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Everyone loves this, and I love Octavia E. Butler's all the other books I've read by her, so I'm sure I'll love that one too. That's it for library books. Now books from my own shelf. Nonfiction, The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. So this is Jim Crow were laws that came into place kind of during and after segregation, where like they would still have certain laws in place that separated people, like different rules for black people as opposed to white people, kind of stuff. A very generic explanation of that. Don't take that and then write an essay on that. Like that's just very generic my understanding of it. So this is about how like we look at Jim Crow's the past, but there's still like law is being applied differently to black people than it is to white people. In well, I'm sure it's probably going to concentrate on the U.S., but you know, all over the world. So that'll be informative, I'm hoping. Oh, there is another library book, because when I moved, I lost a box of books, and it was all like really important books to me, and I'm really disappointed, but this was one of them. Giovanni's Room for James Baldwin. I love James Baldwin's writing, and I was supposed to read this back in university. I didn't. That was with a prompt. It was the fake ID badge, the fake FBI badge, which means like a book that you should have read, but you haven't. And I should have read this in university, but I didn't. So yeah, this is an early gay 1950s. I thought it was earlier than that. My brain is all over the place. I'm just like a lot of stuff happening at like work and home and New Year and all that kind of stuff. So my brain's a little fried. But anyways, yeah, classic. And then those are all, I do believe those are all American. And I had to throw some Canadian in there. And so I got Lawrence Hill's classic, The Book of Negroes. Just like, this is a classic. Why haven't I read it yet? I've read other books by Lawrence Hill. I believe it was The Illegal I've read. And yeah, so I have to read this. It's a Canadian classic. Um, yeah, so there's the Book of Negroes. This is, I don't know what it's about besides the fact that it's like a classic Canadian. Um, it mentions Nova Scotia. Okay. So we start in an African village, go to a plantation in the southern United States, refuge in Nova Scotia. If you don't know, Nova Scotia has a historic um, town called Africville, which was largely populated by African Americans escaping um, slavery, and then back to the coast of Sierra Leone. So that'll be cool. So yeah, Canadian classic. And then I wanted to read Around the World. Um, so does it tell you? Doesn't tell you where he's from. Libya. So In the Country of Men by Hisham Matar. This is from Libya. This is cool. 9-year-old Suleiman is just awakening to the wider world beyond the games of the hot pavement outside his home, beyond the loving embrace of his parents. He becomes the man of the house when his father goes away on business, but then he sees his father standing in the market square in a pair of dark glasses. Suddenly, the wider world becomes a frightening place where parents lie and questions go unanswered. Yeah. Just interesting. Okay, and the last category for February is, of course, Canada Raids. They're hosting it. It's usually like the last week of March, but they're doing it the first week of March this year. So yeah, I had to get my hands on the books early and definitely finish it in February. I'm just gonna talk about this book first. This book, when it came on the short list, like like I said, I immediately went to buy the books as soon as the short list came out, like that day. And I managed to get 2 in store, and I had to order 2 more online. And then I looked for this book, and it was out of stock everywhere. I found it on a used site, and the cheapest price was like $60. And I was like, why did they choose this book that seems to be out of print and put it on Canada Reads? It's not going to win because no one's going to be able to buy this book unless they're willing to spend $60 on it, and there's limited copies out there. Thankfully, I guess they reprinted it, or they found some old stock or something, because there's also a book that I was really looking forward to reading. And there's this one, Denison Avenue. Yeah, so I got it, and I got 25% off of it too. So this is really cool. This has text on this side of the page, and then you flip it over, and this back half is a little bit of a graphic novel, which I think is pretty cool. So this is about a place I visited often when I lived in Ontario. Chinatown, Kensington Market, just like really cool place to go. But it's also being gentrified. So like all those cool places are disappearing. Yeah, it was a really cool place to shop, but then I guess hipsters got a hold of it, and they kind of upped the prices of everything, right? And moved people out, and now I don't even think it's. I think there hopefully should be some shops left, but yeah, I don't know the state of it now after COVID and everything. So it's about that from the perspective of, I believe you get elderly Chinese Canadians. So that'll be pretty cool to see. And this is another one that sounds really cool. This one is like super well selling right now. So I have a feeling this might be the winner. But I haven't read them yet, so I can't pass judgment on any. Well, I have read one of them a while ago. But anyways, so this is The Future by Catherine Leroux, translated by Susan Uriu. That's what we're going with. And this is like, it takes place in Detroit, which might also be a bad thing for its positioning on Canada Reads, is that it doesn't take place in Canada. It's been an argument used before. But anyways, Detroit had never surrendered to the U.S., so it's a very heavily French populated place, and the rules are different there. So it's kind of like maybe post-apocalyptic almost, but not. Seems very confusing. I'll have to read it and let you know more about it. And this one I have read, and it's got my tag in here. Oh, it has my address and everything on there. Let me not share that shipping label. So this one I have read. I read it on ebook. It's Shut Up You're Pretty by T.M. Mutanji, and this is a series of connected stories all about this one girl. And she's from Congo. I believe she immigrates with her parents to Canada, and then it's her growing up impoverished in a bad neighborhood as well. It's really quite interesting. I really enjoyed it when I read it years ago. I think I read it when it first came out, which would be 2019, which seems like ages ago, right? But but I actually own a copy now. I decided to buy all the copies, which will be surprising when you see this next book, because it is completely outside of my comfort zone, completely like something I'd never see myself reading. And there's no judgment. I read this cool thing actually about today about the importance of reading, like the importance of for some people reading romance, and its role in like gender and fulfilling. It wasn't fantasy. It was like, this is how relationships should be, kind of thing in romance. Anyways, I'm going off on this tangent, but as someone who's like aromantic and just doesn't get it, like I'm just like, I just don't see the point of romantic relationships personally. But I'm gonna read a romance because it's for Canada Reads. So this is Meet Me at the Lake. It's only $20, thankfully. Only I say. But Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and it just looks like your stereotypical romance too, doesn't it? Yeah. So they spent 24 hours together, and then they said they're going to meet again a year later, but then the guy doesn't show up. But then she does run into him years later. So it'll be interesting to see how this gets addressed on Canada Reads. I personally can't remember any romance being on Canada Reads in my like time frame that I've been watching it. So it'll be interesting to see how this is addressed. And hopefully there won't be like any misogyny and judgment, because I want to express that too. Like, I'm not judging you for reading romance. It's just not something I read. It's just not something I'm interested in. So it'll be be interesting. And then lastly, a book that I have been wanting to read for a while, Jessica John's Bad Cree. And this is about a Cree millennial. It's horror. Oh, she can bring back items from her dreams, which sounds interesting. But it is also horror, so it's like, what does she bring back? So that is my TBR minus all the comics that I have planned to read. And I have a few movies. Let me actually just grab my thing so I can tell you which movies I want to watch. Hold me accountable. I have my back. I have my reading journal / personal journal / everything in here. I've been working on it. Here's my Ash Wednesday and Lent pages. Ash Wednesday because it's Ash Ketchum, so it's a Pokemon themed page. Anywho, that's not the page we're looking for. I'm adding this. It's a letter an ex-slave wrote to his master after being freed, and then have like part of my Black History page going there. It's not completely finished yet, but see, I have my TBR here, not with the comics, and then my movies here. So I'll watch Parasite because my brother's been bugging me to watch that since it came out, and it's a Korean movie. And then I got some Black movies. I've been wanting to watch Sorry to Bother You for a while, and then I read a blaxploitation comic, and I used to watch. I think I've seen Superfly before, but I used to watch some of these movies before understanding the whole Black History thing when I was still young. So I put to watch Superfly again with now the knowledge that I have about racism and everything like that. So yeah, that's my January wrap up. But here's my February title page. I'm really enjoying having such a big book to work with because you can put so much on the pages. I'm so excited that I'm not constrained with. Oh, okay, there's not actually information filled in there about my budget, but yeah, it's cool. I'll maybe do a flip through of this some other time. But yeah, I can speak English. That is my plan. That is my plan. I'm now trapped in words sounding weird. It is late. I've been up for a long time. I had a really busy day at work. So I'm just gonna shut up now. Let me know what you're reading in February, and thank you for watching.